Hello. There we go. Um, Sorry for the change. I I I needed this. I had to go back to this. I really like how this is going, and I wasn't feeling long dark today. And yeah, so I'm gonna keep working on this because I'm really happy with how this is going. So let me get started here. How you guys doing today? What are you up to? Oh yeah, so fancy. So fancy. I'll also be, for like the first 20 to 30 minutes here, I'll probably just pop my mic on if I'm going to respond to you guys, because I have crackers, and I haven't eaten much today, so I need to eat those. And those make a lot of noise. Ooh, summer break! That's exciting. Oh yeah, because you had all your finals. How'd the rest of your exams go? Put some more work into the comic stuff. That sounds like fun. That sounds like a great way to spend your time. How's the comic coming? Okay, let's get myself situated here. So the needle is on its own layer. Hornet is on her own layer. Sketch. I'm happy to help, Leo. Welcome, by the way. How you doing? You still have 2.5 months until winter break. Ew. How much to whistle while I eat crackers? Tell you what, I will take a mouthful of cracker and try to whistle for your amusement right now, free of charge. How about 2 crackers? We'll do 2 crackers. That'll make it harder. Ready? Here we go. What? Hold on. 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 I just gotta do a chipmunk move. That's a whistle. That's a whistle. I'm glad, Pentagon. I know this is what you wanted. I'm working on the name of the MC right now. Names are hard. I have a tough time with names. I'm sure I've mentioned to you guys before that Emily and I are almost but not quite impressive. I will take that. Thank you, Pimp. I thought it was perfect. M's better at coming up with names than I am.
You came up with the last part of Scotty's name.
I did. I came up with Scotty's full name, which is Scott's William McBeansingtonworth. So I get credit for that. Okay. So, what's the next part of this I want to work on? I think... Thank you, Benzigot. I think it suits him. I kind of want to work on these. I want to get an idea here of what I want to do. So we're going to get rid of everything but the sketch. I'm going to add a new layer up top. And this is going to be our base color for these rocks. And all these rocks, I think, are just going to share a layer. Because none of them are anywhere near each other, right? We've got one here. We've got one here. The towers are going to be their own thing. They're not going to be with the rocks. And it looks like I crammed something up there. That doesn't make much sense, though. I'm probably not going to stick with that. What the hell was I doing there? Oh, no, that's another tower. That's another one of the towers. That's what that is. I need some background white so I can see what I'm looking at here. There we go. That helps a lot. Okay. Ooh, or we could work on the previous iteration here. The last model. So far, you have an elf named Abigail Moonflower, a half-dragon named Vulcan, a demi-human named Ruby Carmine, and a talking axolotl named Dango. Those are awesome names and characters. What is a demi-human? What does that mean? I'm gonna work on the pillar. It's like a human-animal mix. Gotcha. Right on. What animal? What animal is... wait, what's the name? I gotta get it right. Ruby Carmine. Yeah, those are really cool names. I like those names. So I'm looking for... We're looking for a stony color. So I do want a blue-gray, but not quite as metallic. So maybe a little earthier. No, I think I want to go with a brownish gray. We're going to go warm with this. We're going to go warm with this. She's got Firefox characteristics, which is just a fancy name for a red panda. Very cool. How well is her, or how solid is her internet browsing? You really want to see a mole man? They have one of those in The Simpsons. Song request isn't on, Pimp, but you can go ahead and add something if you want to. I just don't want to open that wide up. You don't know if there's internet in a fantasy world. I just gotta believe, man. Internet, if there's anything I know, it's that 99% of the functionality of the internet is belief. She's a stealth assassin. Leo. Yeah, there is now. It's changing. The world's changing. Hashtag it's time. Come on, it's 2020. I need to put this behind the sketch so I can see what I'm doing. No, not the swatches. Although, thanks, self, for reminding me to put something on the swatch layer. There you go. Sounds like the kind of person who would use a private browser. I love that. Oh, Pimp, sorry. Yeah, hold on. For some reason I thought because you were a mod it would just let you do that. But apparently not. Alright. Here, I'll just do it again. Or, tell you what, I'll just put it in manually. Why don't we just do this? Why don't we just do this? Boop. And boop. And boop. There we go. Because I don't want to open it up because then people will just... You know... Randos will show up and just throw stuff in there. Ooh. Good choice. Very good choice. I'm sure that one is in here somewhere. But yeah, might as well. No, you're fine, Pimp. You can send some more. As long as you guys... All I want for this is just keep with the Hollow Knight theme that we're going with. It doesn't need to be Hollow Knight music. I just know that if I open it up to random... people other than you guys will show up and... the path will change. And that's, it's tons of fun when we're doing stuff like GeoGuessr or I'm just screwing around in Minecraft, but when I'm trying to focus on a painting like this, it gets confusing and distracting for me, because I'm trying to, like, keep tabs on what exactly is getting posted and stuff. No, this is totally fine. So let's just work that shape in here. That would let the memes out, exactly. Who let the memes out? You just bought it? Ooh. Need to put up some 5G towers and get with the times. No, I hear those are causing problems. I'm sure you didn't hear me say that, though, Moody, because you're probably going to get your food. But enjoy your food. guess the other side I'll have to just, I guess I could go through and do a secondary sketch line there, but I don't think I really need to. I think we can just do something like that. Because it doesn't really matter, obviously, because it's going to be behind the knight's head here. And we can just let stuff get sloppy over on this side. I think that's what I'll do. Ooh, pimp, that sounds cool. Right on. A randomizer for... Wait, for, Bloodstained. That's right, that's right, that's right. I forgot the name. I think I was gonna say Bloodborne. That's not right. Oh, I'm excited to see that, pimp. Welcome back, Moon. Got chicken and pancakes from IHOP. Like chicken and waffles, but better. I will accept your like chicken and waffles statement, but you lost me on the second half. Sounds really tasty, though. Exactly, pimp. Waffles have syrup pockets. It's a more efficient use. The pancakes at IHOP are better than the waffles. That's 100% true, so I'll give you that. Fair enough. Alright, let's think about texture here. So I'm going to go through and start cutting these scratches in. Which means we're going to want... I think charcoal pencil. It's just eating Eggos and frozen chicken strips like that would be an acceptable way to have chicken and waffles. Mrs. Bard needs to sit down. Benzagon. Listen. Because it's amazing. And if you don't understand why, you're gonna need to get on the train, man. Chicken and waffles are a gift to mankind. With syrup and gravy. Yeah, that's true. That's the right way. Although I definitely go a lot heavier with the syrup. Are you a white gravy person or a brown gravy person? By which I mean, is your preference for gravy white or brown, not are you brown and do you like gravy? I feel like that shouldn't need clarification, but I clarified anyway. Okay, let's space this out. A little bit scratchier. There we go. That's giving me more of the texture I want. Okay, but before I get into this, I'm forgetting that I need to muddy up the stone itself. Which might actually be a good idea with this brush really, really big, right? Yeah. Really, really big and really, really spaced. Yeah, Pimp, I don't think I could either. Who is a brown gravy person? My family. See, I've just never been partial to white gravy. No, I'm a brown gravy person. I am 100% a brown gravy person. Well, that's because gravy is like that'd be like saying you've never seen anybody in the States eat chilaquiles. Like that's not a it's not a thing. And I have seen people in the States eat chilaquiles. What's happening? Why am I in my mask editor? Why? Free me from this prison. What's happening? Is that an oof for my gravy preferences? That's true. It's more of a Mexico thing. But it makes my point, okay? I don't know any Argentinian foods to make my point. So I'm going with a Mexican food that I know is not eaten here, and you understood what I meant, didn't you? So it worked. Okay, so clearly I've gotten myself into mask editor mode. How do I get me out of this prison? Release me from quick mask. No color. No? Ah, yeah, see? I'm in a mask painter. That'll do it. Welcome back. Okay. So what I really wanted was to just wand the outside here. And then we're going to deselect some of this noise. That's still too close though. Oh no, that should have been a selection. That's what I did wrong because I haven't reversed it yet. I wasn't thinking. Okay, so I got to connect that, and we're gonna get rid of all of this right in here. Okay. Boop, 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 ba-doop, ba-doop. Another thing that isn't common there is non-sweet breakfast. I see. Milanesa. What is that? Depending on the food you like, making breakfast burritos and covering them in country gravy. And then a layer of cheese. That makes for good blood splatter. Yeah, it would make for good blood splatter. It's a great brush for that. And we wanted to put that on the nail, but I was told that I was using the wrong color of blood. Technically, I hadn't used any blood yet. Yeah, that brush, I didn't even think about that. That would be a perfect blood splatter brush. Yeah, that would be excellent. It's just a big charcoal pencil. That's all it is. So I'm just going to clean... I don't need to clean up the selection on this side. Breaded meat with all types of goods on it. Okay, that sounds pretty damn tasty. You're gonna need to send me pictures of this. I want to know what it looks like for scientific reasons. Yeah, I think we can... I think because I only need to clean up this side, that selection is pretty damn close. So I'm going to try... I guess I haven't inverted yet, so we're just going to expand by 3 pixels? Nope, not enough. Expand by 6 pixels. Hey, that's pretty good. Okay, and then we're going to invert the selection. So that should put me in the right place here. Yes. And then we're going to go to a different layer for this. Move ourselves out. I'm moving there too, Leo. You're gonna have to beat me to the plane. Bring it on. Actually, we'll leave this full opacity and handle it on the layer. Yeah, see, this is good. Okay. And then we're going to do another one with some light speckles. Just want to slowly build this up. Okay, and then a little more color to it, and a little smaller, and a little more spaced out. And we can do some more of that. Oops. I need a new layer. You mean Chex Mix that was baked low and slow in the oven with bacon grease. I can never pronounce that. Worcestershire? Worcestershire sauce, right? Isn't that how you say it? And spices. That sounds pretty good. You don't recommend moving there? Food is the only good thing. Well, I'll move anywhere for food. I honestly can't tell if I'm painting right now. I am. Okay. This doesn't seem to be making the effect that I wanted. So I think I need something colorful but dark so that we can see it. Yeah, so that'll add a little splash of color. Not much, just a bit here and there. And then with blending, we can have this all kind of come together. That's still missing something texture-wise. So, oh man. Wait, anywhere. I don't know what I said that anywhere is going with. Hold on. I'm gonna do this with a different brush. This is working, but it's not quite now that I'm seeing it with all the colors in, it's not quite the brush I want. So, Elon Musk's orbital Tesla. How long do... Oh, I would move anywhere for food. Is there food in the orbital Tesla? If there's food to be had, I'll go. I need the means to get there. But I think we can make that happen. We can change this texture up somehow. Ooh, that looks promising. What if I space that out and make it really big? That looks a little chunkier. Probably a bag of Cheetos in the glove box. Ooh, freeze-dried Cheetos, my favorite. Okay, this is better for our top level, for sure. So we're going to do this. Just ask Scotty and Phoebe to carry me. I'm sure, with the right amount of confidence, it'll happen. So let's despace this. Paint. Can you... Oh, stupid mask. God damn it. Alright, well, there goes the swatch then. Because I don't want to move my mask, so... Scotty and Phoebe are confident flyers. I don't know that they're that confident. Yeah, I like that texture better. A lot better, actually. That feels more like stone to me. It's just a little more mottled. M-O-T-T-L-E-D. Phoebe will agree just to drop me. Yeah, you're probably right about that. Did I tell you guys about how we were trying to fix their food situation? Sorry, had a mouthful of food. I did plan on finishing that statement. How's it going? Thank you. It's not going well. It turns out that Scotty is a particularly stubborn budgie and will indeed just starve himself to death. So we can't do it that way. We have to do it. We found out that we have to do it really, really slowly. Talking like changing his food ratio by little increments on a week-to-week basis. Because what happens is they just stop eating, which is what Scotty did. And he went down by what, like 6 grams?
Yeah, and he only weighs...
And he only weighs 30, so...
He's back up again.
Yeah. Yeah, like mixing the food together, pimp. So we put a little bit of seeds in there, and a little bit of pellets in there. He doesn't eat much in the first place, but what we tried to do was a more aggressive switch, where it was like over the course of a few days, his seeds disappeared. And that was that period where he was just screaming at us. Like, excuse me, my food is missing. We do need a channel for images that are not memes. I'll add that in. I agree 100%. That needs to happen. I'll put both of these colors on the same layer. Okay. I'm liking that as a baseline stone. It's missing something. It still needs more noise. Because it needs to wrap right around again to feeling smooth, and it's still feeling cluttered. So I'm going to take this central color. Let me get the swatch layer back up. Just cover it in a Gaussian blur. Yeah. Totally. It's the answer to all of life's problems. Hey, we will be using a Gaussian blur for doing our depth of field stuff at the very late stage of this. Okay. So what color do we want to keep here? I want this color. Which layer do you live on? Layer 9. There we go. Okay, so we're gonna fill in more of this. Especially up here. I need my swatch out of the way here. There we go. I just want this to... I want it to muddy up until it looks more homogeneous. It needs to feel solid. And right now I'm not convinced. It's getting there. I think part of it is a color problem. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to experiment here. I'm going to make these into a group. And we're going to hide that group, duplicate it. Oh no, I wanted to include the base in that. Hold on. Base as well. So then we make a group. Hide that group, duplicate that group. To make things simple, I'm going to merge this new group. I'm going to drop an adjustment layer on it for hue and saturation. And then I'm going to use Alt-click to lock that hue and saturation to that layer only. And then we're going to play with the colors a little bit. I think really all I need to do here is desaturate. I think it's just too brown. And if I just take that away, it's going to look more like stone, right? Right? Maybe like there. Huh. Maybe it is the texture. Maybe I need to let it be saturated and have it be not quite as warm of a brown. Looks like a hidden eye puzzle. Just defocus. It will reveal itself. I want it to be more gray. Hopefully we can find somewhere along the color line here that'll give us... Well, maybe I'll just go for a bluer gray and see if that makes me happier. So we'll go blue, and then we'll desaturate. And in the context, like around other things... I mean, I don't hate it. It needs to be shaded. That's part of the problem. Do I like it as a stone texture? Anything but the tan colors? Yeah, I really wasn't feeling the tan colors either. I thought I was gonna like it. I don't like it. What do you feel about this texture? I don't think I like this texture. I'm still not happy with it. More of an ocean jasper. Of course. Why didn't I think of ocean jasper? I am feeling the more blue-gray, though. Alright. So we're gonna... Before we do... Third time's gonna be the charm on this one because we're not gonna let anything else happen. But that means that I need to experiment with some other textures to see if I can get happier with something else. So let's see... It really just needs to give me dots. If I make a nice... This is a little more random looking. A little scratchier. That could be something. Alright, so let's fix the color choices here. Let's fix the color choice. So we are going to go with bluer. It's just a chunk of solidite now. I don't know enough about rocks to know what that is. But I believe you, because I know you do know enough about rocks to know exactly what that is. Rock nerds, where you at? I'm feeling the gray a lot more. The light blue gray a lot more than the brown for sure. Space it out more, maybe. I'm definitely feeling more confident about this texture. I'd be happier if I was getting a little more rotation out of the brush. Because that is just way too repeating. It's supposed to scatter. Now they're all going that direction. Oh, I see, I see. Okay, hold on. Let me get a clear screen so that I can make sure I'm right about this. But I think I see what's happening here. So we're going to hide all that. Turn our background back on. So if I do one stroke, and then I do another stroke, and then I do a third stroke, see how the line there is going this way, the line here is going this way, and then that one's kind of angled like this? It seems like it randomizes every time I pick up the brush. So if I just keep doing this, they're all going to be the same direction because I haven't picked up. But as soon as I pick up and I start doing it again, they're all facing a different direction. So I can get the randomization I want. I just need to pick up the brush a lot. Okay, that's fine. We can work with that. So that means both of these can die. And ungroup. Because we're going to get rid of everything. But I need this because I'm really lazy about my selections. One of these days, I'll use the proper selection tools. but today is not that day. Why is my tolerance so high? How about 20? That's better. And then I don't need to worry about this side, because that's behind the knight's head. And we do the same expansion we did before. Should work perfectly. Great. And then we invert. Okay. And then I can delete this as well. And we're going to make a brand new layer. And we are going to... Oh, I need to clean up my swatch layer also. Alright, fine. No time like the present, Austin. Where is it? Save selection. Name. Rockwang. There we go. So then can I say load selection is now an option? Okay. So I can deselect this. And then I can clean up my swatch layer. Because these are no longer correct, so they need to go away. And then I guess we might as well leave it up so that we can put the new colors we're going to make on here. So this will be one of them. Wow, let's do that with a denser brush, huh? How about this? Okay, there's one. And then we're going to need a darker, which is going to be more like that. And these are similar to these colors, but they're for a different thing. So I'm not going to use the exact same swatches because I don't want it to look exactly the same. I am picking almost exactly the same colors, though. It's a little awkward. That's okay. They'll look different with different textures, so it's okay. I still think I'm right about this. That was a good time for my face to freeze. Okay. So, now we can load the selection. Good. Hide the swatch layer. Load the selection, which was up here. What's the shortcut? There is no shortcut. Great. We'll set one of those up later. Rockwang. Thank you. Okay, so first things first, just fill in. What do rocks eat? Lobsters. Obviously, didn't you go to school? Come on. Andesite. They eat andesite walls. Pomegranates. I love it. The big stone pillars around Hyrule Castle and Breath of the Wild with the circular splotches of color on them. Yes, I do. I know exactly what you're talking about. Oh, right. Spacing, Austin. Spacing. If you made them green instead of red, you get ocean jasper. I honestly thought you were being sarcastic when you said that color name. So I'm trying to picture... I think I can see what you're talking about. So you're thinking add a little bit of a greenish tint to this as opposed to blue. Well, you know how we could do that. Oh, God. I'm always so skeptical of these textures. But I always find that if I just keep going, I can find it. I feel a lot better about this as our stone texture, for sure. And I'm not bothering to texture all of it, because I know we're only going to see this section. You have a polished chunk of it sitting on your desk next to you. Well, that's very cool. Is that something that we need a separate photo Discord channel so that we can see? Or are you willing to send it under the term meme? I don't feel like I have, but I do feel like we've talked about this before, Moody. Crystallized bismuth. That sounds really familiar. Probably back when you got your sample in January. Yeah, probably then. How big is your collection at this point? This is feeling so much better to me than that last texture. I can't even tell you. Because it's still kind of got some of that soft noise feel to it, where it's almost like the colors are undulating, but it's got some sharp lines in there too, which feels like the scratchiness that you get with rock. I feel a lot better about this texture. I'm wondering if I should do some muddying. And I'm just doing this all on one layer this time, painting over myself. Trying to add and remove some of these scratches. Oh, hey, Cereal, how's it going? Jiggle, jiggle, jiggle. A rock is a rock to you. That's fair. That's a completely rational way to look at this situation, but I'm not a rational man. I'm doing pretty good, Cereal. Good to see you, man. Fills up a little more than a about 4 by 1.5 foot shelf in the living room. That's a pretty sizable rock collection. That's impressive. Okay, a little more of that color, I think, maybe around here. Okay, and then we're gonna try, in the context of the whole sketch, to shade this bad boy a little bit. You have the bigger ones outside in the garden. Very cool. How big, then? If they're out in the garden, how big? So I want more dark shadows on this side. Not much. Just a little bit more. Just a little bit more. And then I think I'm going to... We're not going to see this side, so I can't use this to sell my lighting effect, so I really want to get a highlight up here, if I could see a little better. Maybe even badly enough that I'll lower the spacing. so that we can really hit this hard. Just get a nice little high spot right just peeking out behind Hollow Knight so that we'll see it. Jesus. You have all 7 Dragon Balls that are considered Wish Rocks. That's true. He's got you beat there, Moody. You've got all these domestic rocks. He's got Dragon Balls, so... You know. I'm pretty jealous, though. I did always want to have my own set of Dragon Balls. Okay, I feel like this is starting to feel more shadowy on the left side, but I think I kind of overdid it on the right. We can recover it. That just means I'm going to need to paint over with this color a little bit to try and fill in. Give it a little more randomization. I kind of like this scuff that I just made there. But especially over here, we want to remove the darker stuff. Anywhere from a half-foot serpentine rocks to almost a 2-foot ammonite fossil? What? That's cool. Find them in creek beds out in the country. Ammonites, you mean. You can find everywhere. Benzagon, a foot is about this big. That's about a foot. Maybe a little bit less. Maybe more like that. About the width of my head. But I have a big head, so... I look vaguely like a caveman. And I'm aware of that. I know that about myself. It's about 30 centimeters. Moody coming in with the conversions. The actual information you wanted. I elected to make things more complicated. I know we're going to have a little more shadow here. You have to be so patient when the scattering is on, because it doesn't quite land where you want it to, but that really helps sell the look. This is really coming along. I'm liking this texture a lot more now. This is looking like stone. Visual references are better for most people. Well, I tried. Was that an acceptable? Is the width of my head a good visual reference? I hope my head's not a foot wide. It might be. Almost looked like a third of a meter. Exactly right. Well, almost exactly right. Because, yeah, our equivalent of the meter equivalent, in air quotes, is a yard, which is 3 feet. Moody. Exactly. I mean, if you don't know the size of the King of England's 1,000-year-old foot, I don't know how to help you. You just look at your legs. It's a good way to find out how long a foot is. Not the foot, a foot. I think this texture is a lot better. Okay, now I want to look at it next to the shrubs. That fits. That fits so much better. Okay. I'm so glad I didn't just decide I was happy with that last one, because I wasn't. Okay. So now that it's behind the sketch, we can use the sketch. Because now I need to get these larger grooves in. And in order to keep with the feel of what we have so far, obviously I'm going to use the same colors for my shading here, but I'm going to use a slightly different brush. I think we're still on the charcoal pencil. So what we want to do here is change back to the standard charcoal pencil. Like, this is where it is on default when you pick charcoal pencil, is this brush tip. I'm going to turn scattering off. Let's see how those lines look. Yeah. See what I mean? So, they're not quite right, but if I space it out a little bit, not quite that much, maybe split the difference, something like that. Yeah, these lines are inconsistent. Still a little too inconsistent. Let's go for, like, how about just 10%? That should do it. Good. Good. This is... Oh, okay. We're making choices along the way, Photoshop. As long as I leave the pen down, it's making choices to fill things in. These smart brushes are not very smart. Okay, let's try a different texture then. This is what I used for the fabric on the dress. It's not quite what I'm after. Maybe I need a different base brush. I don't think so, though. How about just regular hard pencil? That's a subtle enough change that I think it'll still match. Okay, and then we've got those kinds of lines. If we use this brush head, that looks a little spacier, and then we're going to manually space it out to, like, here. Looks kind of like lunar basalt right now. Well, I mean, you know, those rock pillars are kind of ethereal. I'll work with lunar basalt. That works for me. The bottom gap between creases on your pointer finger is almost exactly an inch. That is pretty handy. Just, it's literally handy. I mean, like, it's on your hand. And it's convenient. Okay. Okay, so see, this is gonna look weird while we're doing it. I do need to bring the spacing in a little more, though. Maybe, like, to here. There you go. Okay. So what I'm hoping is, if I bring the opacity down on my actual brush head, that I'll be able to work something in that'll have a relatively smooth feel to it. So it'll look like it's a man-made carving, but it'll have these imperfections in the color that will stop it from taking away the stony feel of it. That's my theory, and I'm sticking to it. We'll see how it goes. So the color I want is this medium dark, and we're just gonna kind of push this into place here. We're gonna follow the line that I made before with this light color, and really mainly trying to ensure that it doesn't get dark on the edges. We want this to feel like a groove, right? So we're gonna have peaks technically on either edge. So if it had light going like directly across it, we'd be catching those, and we do have a little bit of that happening right around here. So I'll have some light catching along this edge here and along that edge there. But around most of this, I really just want to imply what's here. I don't want to shove it down your throat that there's a groove in this, because it's not going to give you the right effect. Okay, so now I can kind of see where it is, so I can follow it and emphasize it. Okay, and this is obviously way too subtle at this point, but it's a good starting point that we can jump off from. So, and you can see how the lines slowly but surely start making themselves known here. Maybe if I change the angle up a little bit. Yeah, okay. And then we're going to go to the darker color. Add a new layer. And probably zoom in here. Make my brush a little smaller. Then I can go through and really hit the shadow at the low point. And I want some places where this doesn't feel like, I don't want this to feel too smooth, because even though it's like a, it's kind of got a vibe of like a some sort of prayer stone, or you know, something spiritual, so it would be well carved, right? So I don't want it to look sloppy, but I do want it to look I guess imperfect is the word I'm looking for. I don't want it to seem too well done, which shouldn't be a problem. But I'm really trying not to make the line like this arc is a little smooth. But you can see in the context of the whole thing how it's starting to feel like a groove. And then we'll have a little bit of a light spot on the inside before we really dive in. It's made by bugs. That's true. It is made by bugs, but they're bugs with feelings and emotions and prayers, and they're and general building skill. I mean, look at the buildings they have. They know how to make things. It's built by bugs with dreams, Moody. Would it be crafted the same way as a human would? That's a grand question. I'm going to go with yes. For the purposes of this drawing, I'm going to go with yes. Probably not, though. Like in reality, probably not. I feel like they would evolve more to use like more of their tools would be part of their body, as opposed to being something they built and or found rather. Okay, so I'm gonna try and highlight the edge of this. So it would probably look a little more hand done as opposed to done with tools. Oh no, Pentagon! You lost all of your dinos again. I'm so sorry. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at your situation, which is objectively funny. Humans like pairs. Bugs might like quads. That's true. I mean, I hear bugs are really focused on their quads. You know, they got those squats down. So just a little bit of hitting this edge here, and then when we really go through and do the lighting pass, I'll hit this with a bit of a yellow glow. I'll let it catch. I don't want to go too far in there. Though, that's true, they do mostly have two arms, so maybe not. But Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. Benzagon. Yeah, no, that's I would never try to kill an over-leveled Triceratops. Fool me once. Just wanna, the light would be hitting here, and then I can't really get away with much more in terms of emphasizing that. That is starting to give the feeling though, like it's working. It's definitely working. Like I'm getting that. It's gaining some depth, especially after I added the highlight on the right side. One of the other problems is Moody, they're allowed to be amorphous transforming bugs. I don't understand why you're questioning their life choices. Okay. So now we want to fill this in, which I'm going to do in kind of a weird way. We're going to make a new layer behind these layers that I just created. Okay. So this is stone base. And then we want shading. And then this is shading 2. And this is shading 3. And that's my misc layer. So I'm going to go through and change my selection because we have that other selection saved, so we can go back to it now. I'm going to follow this line pretty carefully. Not too carefully. But only because you don't need to. But I'm going to go around this edge. I'm going to follow this. The main thing I want to grab here is the shape, and then you'll see why in just a second. Because what we're going to do is I'm going to go down to here, give myself a little extra room down at the bottom, and then connect up. And then I'm going to shrink this selection by a lot more than I usually do. We're going to contract it by like 25 pixels. Okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to feather the selection. And now we Gaussian blur it all. Yeah, exactly. The time is now. Okay, so we're going to do a 10 pixel feather radius, which softens everything and makes it so that when I paint inside of here, it'll even out. So now we're going to be on our miscellaneous layer. I'm going to turn my opacity up a lot closer to 100%, but not all the way. I think I went with, what, 77? 78. And then we're going to pick the darkest dark and our previous stone brush. So that was charcoal pencil with... I was going with the standard brush head and a large amount of spacing with a bigger brush. Not as big as I was going last time. I just want to try and maintain that edge a little bit. We do want to be a lot tighter, a lot more like that, so we can fill in solid. And then, I guess I can go, alright. Oh, it brought my opacity back up. I was like, why is that so aggressive? Yeah, there we go. Okay. And we're going to get the actual gap for this in. And what that feather is going to do for us is make it so that I don't have to be very particular about this. I can just kind of shade this into to my feeling. Just until I'm happy with it. And that means that I won't screw up that other stuff that I did there. We have a feathered edge, so the stuff that I'm working on will spread that way, but it won't mess anything up. I won't get weird noise underneath those, because those things that I did are really, that edge is really soft and a little bit translucent. And so what I'm going to do is just fill this area in, not all the way. I want a little bit of speckliness, because I don't imagine this to be a very deep groove. I think it's a carving, so I think it's just deep enough to feel solid, but not literally be completely solid. You get what I mean? We'll go almost completely solid in the middle of it, which is why I brought my brush size down and just ran through the middle like that. And then if I deselect this and I zoom out, I'm hoping, yeah, okay, that's very close to what I was going for. I'm gonna need to go around the outside, and I shouldn't have brought it in quite as much as I did. That was the lesson there. But what this will mean is that I can do the edge of this manually, so not much of a loss, honestly. Like, the manual edge is doing this by hand is gonna look a lot better anyway, because you can be a lot more specific with it. So I'm gonna come through, just trying to fill in where it feels like it's too white here, because this should be the inside, right? It's catching light on the right side of this groove, so the inside, right where it goes dark, shouldn't be lightened. It confuses your eye while you're looking at it. So like this cannot be. Not allowed. Bad, bad, bad. And then this side I don't have to be as friendly with, because the fact that it's catching light, I do want to roughen it up just a little bit with this brush. Not much, just a little, so that it doesn't look quite as, I guess, digital. Looks a little more like brushwork, which just, you know, makes the whole piece feel more cohesive. I hate that it snaps around like this while I'm trying to zoom. I just want to look at something at the right distance. Okay. Okay, I'm not 100% on that. It's okay. I feel like it's gonna need some touching up, but it's giving me the effect that I was looking for. I almost think that maybe I should treat this like a deep groove and make another layer that's almost completely black on top. So we'll bring the opacity down really low, go pretty much completely black, and then we can darken up some spots here. I'm going to lower the spacing because I really just kind of need a solid brush right now. So I do need a solid brush, but that's actually a little bit too solid. I wasn't expecting that to be a problem. So let's space it out to like 17%. And then do it like this. Yeah, see? There it goes. Okay, so I was wrong the first time. This is a deep groove now. And I can sell the depth this way, because I think what this is going to do for me is this spot will stand out against the rest of it, because this color doesn't appear anywhere else on this object. So your eye is going to make the assumption that this is a particularly shadowy place, much like the elephant graveyard in The Lion King. So here I want a little bit bigger brush. And then I just want to... That's still too white right there. There we go. And I'm a little bit worried about the bottom of this, but I'm pretty sure if I look at my sketch... Okay, first of all, looks way better that way. What it did is it made the edge seem a little bit harder. So maybe that can be accomplished. Who is that? I see. Okay. So this whiteness in here actually needs to go away. Okay, let's not do that way. There we go. You want to smash it open to the geode center. Ooh. Ah, that would take a long time. You had me thinking there for a second, Moody. Geode center sounded interesting to me. I think that's an experiment for another day. But I like the idea. Okay, so we're going to go back to the miscellaneous layer. That should be the correct layer, and it is. We are going to have this be a pretty sharp brush. A geo center. There you go. There you go. Keep it on theme. You know? Gotta stay on brand. Stay on focus. Okay. So, I do need to lower my opacity here because you can just see my brushwork happening. So, I'm gonna go through and tidy up this edge because I did want to make it rougher like I did earlier, but I think it was still too rough. This will have it feel more like a cut hole. What I was feeling before when you zoomed out is it felt like more like it was like if you're looking at the cut itself, like if this is the surface, right? And the cut's going into the stone like that, it seemed more like it was a smooth transition into the cut rather than a cut in. So I'm thinking if I sharpen up this line here, it might fix that problem. I'm very hopeful. We'll see what the end result is here in a second. Okay, that should be... I think any more than that and I'll be overdoing it. So let's come back out. That did help. That did help. Now I'm feeling like it's glowing too much on the right side, which is confusing. I think that's just me overthinking it. So this first stone shading layer is what's causing my problem. So I'm going to go to this layer, and I'm actually going to paint over it. So this is technically a thing that would be part of layer 9, because it's this, or of the misc layer, because it's a dark, it's the dark color. But because the fuzzy edge of this extends out too far, oh, I guess it would be part of layer 9. I'm going to have to go with the black. Because the edge of this would be extending out, like, over the edge of the blackness, I need the edge of the blackness. So, same problem as before, it's too fuzzy, just on the other side. So we're going to go to the stone shading layer and just cut it in. So the problem there, the problem through this whole thing, to be clear about what went wrong here, is when I went and did that feathering, I overfeathered. I made the feather too broad. It was 10 pixels wide. and that meant that I had this weirdly, well, kind of a Gaussian blur look, which obviously does not work for what's supposed to look like a traditional painting, somewhat. And so that was spreading really softly that light over on top of our supposed void in the stone. So it was kind of ruining the whole illusion. I think if I fix this, it'll help. And then if I get this figured out, we'll be able to do this over feathered. Yeah, there's a lot of over feathering in my apartment, rather, for those of you who know how to speak English. Okay, that's giving me, because you see how we're like getting some of the darker voids like right up against the edge here now? That helps sell it because the depths are going that direction. So I'm even going to add some more of that feeling right here and right here. I'm even tempted to add a darker shade of black, but I'm going to let this sit for a minute and see how I feel about it when I come back to it. And I'm going to keep cutting more grooves into this because, yeah, there we go. That did it. That totally did it. Problem solved. Cool. I'm thrilled with that. Every damn time. I'm going to be cutting in the grooves here now. So if I pull up the sketch... Or wait, no, I'm going to group this first. So we've got our stonework here. But if we hide that and bring the sketch up. So we've got this master groove cut in here now. The big guy is in there. We now need to do these sweeping scratches, which I think the best solution to that is going to be to cut in some dark lines and then just kind of... So you remember what I did on the nail over here? Or on her needle, rather? If I pull the... Shut up. I'm not trying to use a clone stamp. If I pull the needle up... So what I did here, where I have like the dark line and the light line... So we're going to do the inverse. I'm going to cut some grooves. Okay? And then we'll hit them In the same way I hit this with the dark line for emphasis, we're going to do the opposite with light, and I think that's going to work. So we're going to cut some dark grooves into the stone. So let's hide the sketch and those two things. Bring this back in. I also want to bring that other selection back so that I don't screw it up. So load Rockwang, perfect. And then this I need to bring the opacity up because I actually can't see it. And now we need to switch back to... I think I want my pastel again. At least as a starting place. Because really what ends up happening is what you're picking with that first one is a completely set up brush. So by going in and changing the settings, I'm no longer really using that brush. But I like to use them as a jumping off point. I'm going to make my own custom brushes pretty soon here because I'm getting impatient. Alright, Moody, have fun. See you later, man. No worries. Okay, so I think I'm going to go to shading layer 1. Yeah. And then I can be pretty sweeping with these because the lines are going to be hidden. Like the ends of these, the end of this line never shows. So I can do stuff like that. But I don't want it to be quite that black. So I want to go with this color, yes, and then we want to bring the brush size up. We're getting closer, getting a lot closer. That's feeling pretty good. That's feeling pretty good. Okay, so I want that. What I think I want to do is bring the flow down. This is not a setting I play with very much, because I'm not fully sure what it does. Yeah, so what that seems to do is rather than like genuinely lowering the opacity across the entire thing, it makes it just kind of spottier. So I think if I then decrease the spacing and the flow, we can get something that doesn't look as much like a stamp, but still isn't as solid. Okay, so that is good, but that's too low with the flow. So maybe back to about where we were. Split the difference. There we go. So if we do stuff like this... Come on, we can get that line again. We can get it. Nope. Nope. And nope. There it is. That's the one. But I can't help but think I should be doing this on its own layer so that I can mess with it. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. There we go. And... come on, work with me here. Is that where that line is going? I need to hide this. No, it's not. So, I need to be going up and around this circle. So maybe I'll come from here and follow back down. Come on. Nope. Smoother. Smoother. Come on. Alright, maybe this way. Having trouble getting this line. Hold on. Let's try changing my angle a little bit here. Almost got it. This is the right angle. I think I'm gonna be happy with... No, I'm not. There it was. See, I'm glad I did one more. Okay. So then if I hide the sketch... Yeah, see, that's gonna create a pretty decent effect on its own. And then if I just hit it with highlights here and there, it'll sell it. It'll totally sell it. So what we want to do with this now is bring that around like that. And this one I'm actually going to bring around as well, like this. Give Devin what he deserves, Benzagon. Punish him for being mean and unhelpful. That's not quite the right look. Ooh, that is, though. Nice. Got pretty lucky on that one. That eraser might be slightly too large. Just take that edge away from it. Okay. It's hard to see what I'm doing here. And a lot of this was kind of improvised in the first place. So I don't need to be that particular about it. And the nice thing is this is a background element. So all we're really trying to do is imply stuff. We don't want it to be... We don't want it to dominate the image and have like all these like high contrast shadows and stuff like that that will make it stand out too much. Come on, Austin. There you go. But at the same time, you know, it needs to look polished. Not literally polished, but just, you know, it needs to look... It needs to fit the rest of the image, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Without overtaking it. So the fact that these lines are nice and subtle, I think is going to do exactly what we need. Yeah, see, and the spacing on this brush is very much helping me meet the lines into each other in a way that's not messy. I think I want to do one more before I bring it around. There we go. And then like that. How's that look? Oh, that's looking a little bit too much like an eye. That's not quite it, but I'm not sure. Something about this is bothering me. It's just not quite right. Try not to damage that line. There we go. Maybe a bigger circle here. Yeah, because then it'll match. That was the problem there. And then I do kind of know what's bugging me here, and I think it's that I can't make it like a perfectly even thing. But I don't think there's anything I can do about that. I think that's just life. Come on. Curve it all the way back. All the way back. Let's go. Circles, man. Come on. Come on. There we go. Okay. And then these need to darken at the eye. I think that's starting to make my point. It is starting to make my point. That one was too dark. So we're just gonna do that. Okay. Okay. I'm feeling encouraged. Yeah. I think that does, in the context of the whole image, that's gonna feel right. Because if we put Hornet Needle in the bush back... Yeah. Yeah. I'm feeling it. The edge looks weirdly sharp to me. Most of that won't be a problem. It's this one right here, I think, where it gets ripply, but not. I don't think I should touch that. I think that's just me being nitpicky. You're liking it, Benzagon? I think it's working. And, like, this looks weird over here, but that's going to be covered by Hollow Knight. Or by Ghost, I guess we can call him. So what I want to take now from my swatch layer... No, I don't run anything as administrator right now. Stop it. So I want to take this nice light color now. Possibly even something lighter. Did we take the color or? Okay. Make one more layer, and then get it nice and teeny tiny and whamp. Okay, this is right. This is right. Flow needs to go up. flow needs to go back down a little. And then we just kind of want to hit these, but they want to... I was hitting that on the wrong side, so I want to hit this here. And that's just because of the light direction. And doing that across all of these is going to sell it. This little detail... I did it on the wrong side again, damn it. This little detail is going to help sell this as a three-dimensional feature. Because you'll be able to see these grooves catch the light. And your eye will notice that a lot more than you'd think. Those little details make a big difference. And it also makes these lines stand out in places where it's already shady, so that you are still getting the effect even when there's changes in lighting. Yeah, you see how that top one feels so much more solid and part of it? Especially right here. Well, see, and stuff like this is why I could never be a traditional painter. Like, people who do this shit in, like... I agree, it does look like a rock. It's absolutely 100% a rock. It's not just a boulder, people. And I know I'm spending a lot of time on a rock, but we already did Hornet. And I can't help myself. What I need to do as I'm turning myself around here, though, is not forget my lighting direction. Okay. There it is. Yeah, I'm spending a lot of time on this, but it's going to be worth it. Because this one's kind of a centerpiece. The rest of them I'll do a lot faster than I'm doing this one. But this one needed to get a little bit of attention. This one is our main Dwayne. Exactly. He's right front and center. You can see him. He's standing out loud and proud, so gotta give him the attention he deserves. Okay, I'm gonna need to be pretty heavy-handed with this stroke, which is usually not a problem for me, but I've been working on having a bit of a lighter touch lately. So I won't be as steady here, I don't think, but we'll get it. The one true rock. This rock above all others. If you must pray, pray to this rock. There we go. That got it. That's what I wanted. Mainly to cut off that other shadow. That's what I wanted. Because it was kind of leaking. Where's my sketch? Okay, so I'll get another hit there and there. Maybe one on there. And then I think that'll be enough. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Step aside, DJ. There's a new rock in town. And he's gonna take all your movies. Who's gonna jump from building to building with fire around him now? Not you. It's gonna be this rock. Yeah, that was super worth it. Again, it took a long time, but I mean, okay, and is everything outside of that? Okay, good. So what I'm now going to do is draw my lasso. I'm gonna give myself a little bit of wiggle room here, but I'm gonna lop off everything that's not gonna be visible because we won't be moving Hollow Knight. That stuff is all decided at this point. I still hate that you can't edit pixels in a group without merging the group. Like, just if I delete something, just do the delete function on all of those layers. I get that it would take a lot of processing power, but just do it. I don't care how long it takes. Just do it. Okay, so we'll go through, I guess, layer by layer and delete everything. And there it goes. Okay. So now we have that little bit of rock in place so we can look at it without the sketch. Yeah, totally, dude. Okay. Ah. Alright. So, I do have more rocks to do, but I'm not going to keep streaming rock painting. So I'm going to do a little bit of work on the knight now, I think. We're going to get his head in place. I think that's the plan. So we're going to do that. Oh, you know what I did? I did forget something. So I need to go to my new layers, 10 and 11, and I need to erase the lines that are poking through, because you can see them through here just a little bit, so I want to get rid of them. There shouldn't be any highlights in here because I wouldn't have bothered. So I'm just going to hit this layer with an eraser really quick. That seems to be taking care of it. Pretty happy with that. Pretty happy with that. Okay. Okay, so we can close that group up. And we're going to use a very similar color for Hollow Knight's head, but because A, it's going to be closer to us, so I don't want it to look quite as dirty, and B, I do want them to look slightly different from one another, and having him be a little less saturated I think makes more sense. You know, it makes him look a little more... I know he's not dead, but dead is the word I'm looking for, so it makes him look a little more dead. Oh, I did forget a thing. I forgot the big spiral on this rock that should be right here. But I'm recommitted now. A little more voidy, exactly. That's a better word. He's more voidy. Okay, so I actually need to hide that stone because it's going to be in the way of this. It sure is coming together, though. Okay, so let's bring my swatches back. I need to remember what brush I was using on her head because we are going to want to use the same one. Definitely started as pastel for my base. And then I may have just kept the pastel. Let's look closely. It looks kind of like just standard pastel to me. So we need a new layer to work on. Let me do some naming here just so that I don't forget. Just so that I remember that that's extra shading. This is grooves 1, or dark actually, and this is grooves highlight. Okay, now I won't forget what that is when I go back to add to it in a little bit. But now we can work on head base. And we can take that color. And then maybe I don't need to change the colors. Or actually, you know what I'll do? I'll use the same color palette, and then we can do some hue and saturation stuff to check and see if we're happy with it after the fact. Okay, so let's just fill his head in. Okay. And then we want her slightly darker color, which is going to be that one. And we can shrink my brush down. What did I do with her? Did I do... Yeah, the head is a few layers, but this should still be on the blocking layer. It should not be that dark, though. So let's bring the opacity down. Even more. Maybe like 13. Because this is just the very first hint of shading, and he's very close to the front. So... I hope I can get rid of all of this. Please. Oh, thank God. Okay. That was all on the swatch layer. Okay. That would not have been good, no. I can't do that with Zode again. Yeah, that was all on the swatch layer. That would have been really bad. And especially because this is foreground, there really shouldn't be much in the way of bright light. Otherwise, it's just going to draw focus from the whole image, which is admittedly just kind of a general mistake that I made here in the setup. I wasn't thinking when I originally set it up about how bright his head is. It shouldn't be a problem for us, but I may not have made him so prominently foreground had I had that in mind. I think we can still make it work with some clever shading here to kind of draw some focus away from him and more over here. And with lighting, I'll really push the eye over there. So it should be okay. We want a little bit of a shadow in here, especially on the inside of this horn. And then, I think a little bit in here. But it should be catching light right on the top there. The lighting on this guy is going to get a little funky. But fortunately, that's a problem for future Austin. Okay, definitely wrong. What I just did there was definitely wrong. I don't think I need to do anything more than that for his base texture. But I do think I need to blur this all a little bit. Let's see what happens if I take the sketch away. Yeah. So I'm going to soften all of this with a blending brush. Wet blender. Wow, that's an aggressive blender. Yeah, so you want a nice small brush for this, I guess. I've never used this blender before. So we're going to take this texture that we used on Hornet and blend it out a little bit so that it's not quite as aggressive. I'm not going to do it everywhere, but I'm just going to make it so that that texture isn't so dominating, which I think I should do without the sketch present, possibly. I want my blender. Where'd it go? Wet blender. That's what we want. Yeah, I can just kind of come through here and push some pixels around, soften things up a little bit. That way it still feels textured when you look at the whole image, but it doesn't feel like the texture is all you can see. We're going to clean them up a little bit because I can't quite... I don't want the sketch there, but I also can't see the shape without the sketch. So we're going to clean up the shape and then remove the sketch. Not all the way. And I did kind of give him more of a cheekbone there than he has in his regular character design. But I kind of like the way it looks. I think it makes him... Because I feel like he is... I don't know all of the lore. You guys know more about it than I do. But I feel like he is supposed to be childlike. And I think giving him a little bit more chubby cheek action adds to that look. Even though it's not actually chub. When a human is looking at it, it makes them think child. And, you know, so maybe that's why he's not quite as round as I made him here. But I think it looks good, so I'm sticking with it. And I think the original design looks fantastic. I wouldn't change it. But I think for the purposes of this painting, he's child adjacent. He's like kind of. I feel like, at least based on that moment that we had with the while we were doing Voidheart, it seemed to me like, at the very least, he's some kind of spawn. So he's got like a childlike innocence. You know what I mean? Oh, dude, what am I doing? What am I doing? Go back. Please go back. Oh, thank God. Okay. I was erasing too much. The lore would make you believe that, but the timelines don't. So it just doesn't quite make sense, but that seems to be kind of their intention. I think that's what it sounds like you mean. I feel like we can assume child then. Because all that really means is they didn't focus too heavily on the writing for the game, which, I mean, the writing is not a major component of the game. So I think that makes sense. The knight looks almost exactly like the Hollow Knight used to look. Yeah, because that what we saw at the beginning there, the knight is just short? Is he just short? I don't know if you're kidding or not. He's just a little guy. And he'd really appreciate it if people would stop bringing it up.
Do you need the big light?
Huh?
Do you need the big light?
No, I do not. Thank you for asking. Yeah, you would think they would be about the same age. But maybe, hear me out. If he was created, right, and then fell, which was the scene that we saw, maybe he didn't age after he fell and just kind of came back after the fact? I don't know. Would you buy that? I would buy that. I feel like that's an acceptable explanation. Oh, so much blending. This is going to be a lot of blending. Come on, just blending away. And then he randomly woke up when the infection started spreading and left to who knows where. You mean the knight left to who knows where. Which is why he's coming back to town at the beginning of the game. Right? Yeah, okay. I would love to see some story information about what the hell he was up to. Because, like, what the hell was he up to? Yeah, see, this turns this into more of a watercolor look. Closer to the screen. Or closer to the viewer's perspective of the scene. And it makes it just... It's just a little less rough on the eyes. Oh, blending is so tedious, though. Maybe we'll get some more. Yeah, we might get some more lore for him in Silksong. I have a feeling we won't get much, though. I think it's going to be mostly about her. And to her, you know, he's just a ghost, right? He's not the ghost. So I don't know why we'd get more about his specific story. I mean, maybe. I don't know much about the lore, but from what I saw, it seems like in the larger timeline, our boy here's not very significant until the events of Hollow Knight. At least not to anybody else. That's true. If it takes place after, she for sure knows who he is. Yeah. So if we're branching off from one of the known endings, then we have a pretty good chance of at least getting some new, like, future information about him, which I guess is still lore. But I have a feeling we won't hear much about his history, unless, I mean, because it's not like he talks, and it's gonna be weird to have a main character that's talking. If she talks, maybe she won't if you're playing as her. I don't know. That's possible. Yeah. I like the way this horn looks better than the rest of his head. So this is very tedious, but it needs to be done. Or memories. Memories would be hopeful. We have to be able to say "get good." I mean, it's her catchphrase. Could pull a red from gold and silver. That's lost on me. What does that mean? Does red lose his ability to speak or something? Is the plotline of Soul Silver, or of Gold and Silver, a follow-up to... Is Gold and Silver in Kanto? I guess is the easiest way to ask that question. And Red and Blue you don't talk, but at the end of Gold Silver you fight Red and he says something. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, that could work. He's a really hard boss. They share a border and you visit Canto. Got it. Okay. So you visit Canto in gold. In gold silver. That's pretty cool. That's some solid fan service. Nintendo knows how to do their fan service. I know that's technically Game Freak and the Pokemon Company, but we all know Nintendo's involved. You fight all the gyms there. Oh, cool. Oh, cool. Hey, Pimp, you were one of the people that was concerned about this texture situation. How are you feeling about this blending for the knight's head? Does this look smoother? Looking good? Cool. Cool. I'm glad to hear you're with me on this. That's good news. A lot of the cool Pokemon are Kanto exclusive in the originals. That sucks. I just changed my window. Whatever. I'm fine with that layout. Oh, no, I full screened it. That's what I did. Can't be doing that. That won't work for you guys. There we go. Well, that's kind of stupid, though. Can't get them until you beat the game. At least you can get them, I guess. But, yeah, that kind of sucks. I don't have a shortcut for the smudge tool. Thank you, smudge tool. and I am still going to give the knight some of those scratches. But they are going to be, like, way subtle. We do want them, though, because the effect that that gives on something bone-like is it can really help sell the shape of it. So I don't want to lose that opportunity. Hopefully I won't overdo it, but it'll be on a separate layer so that I can change it if I do. What's weird was that Hondor and Mukro were only in Kanto. Oh, that's stupid. That's really stupid. Okay, help me out with Mukro. I want to say dark. Yeah, dark. Okay. So, is that an evolution of... No, Mukro... Oh, no, I remember what Mukro looks like. That's right. Dark Witchburb. Yep, I remember it now. Totally remember it now. Yep, it's all coming back to me. Dark Flying Hondor was Fire Dark. Okay. Well, that's really lame that they would give you new types like that. Because that was the introduction of Dark type, is what you're saying. And you couldn't get the Pokemon that was Dark type until the post-game. That's incredibly stupid. Did you hear that, Em?
No.
When they first introduced Dark type, the only Pokemon that had it were post-game. You couldn't get them until the game was over.
What?
Yeah. That's incredibly stupid. And quintessentially Pokemon.
Why does he do this?
I couldn't think of anything more Pokemon-like. Again?
Yeah.
Wait, here, I can hold it up to them. Oh, no, that won't work with the...
Yeah, I don't think the screens would jive well with that.
Yeah, no.
I can send it.
The snail's escaping again. Yeah, you can send it in the Discord.
Okay, hold on. I gotta figure out how this all works then.
Alright, we have... Our snail escape problem has not changed. And he's kind of annoying to get also. Oh my god. That sucks. That's just so them. You know what I mean?
Wait, what do I message? I'm sorry.
Huh? Oh, I don't care which one you send it to.
Do I...
Just put it in the open chat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, on the Discord in the open chat.
Oh, okay.
You can't send images in Twitch. Oh, Umbreon. Oh, okay, so you could evolve an Umbreon and get a dark type that way before the post game? But other than that, no. Oh, this blending is taking forever. It's gonna be worth it, but holy shit. He is a very cute snail, but he's an escape artist, which is problematic. His buddy was also an escape artist, and he's dead now, so... Because, you know, water snails don't do well on dry land, and they don't seem to know that fact about snails. Okay, this should all just blend together nicely, because it's all the same color. And then I can go back to the tedious blending. Gotta push it around until I'm happy with it. They gave Magnemite a new type. They gave Magnemite a new type? I'm sure this is all old news, but I just never paid close attention to this stuff. Whenever I played Pokemon, it was always like... Well, I mean, you guys see the way I play Pokemon. I don't need to explain to you. I'm very casual with the way that I approach video games. You guys know that about me. So I never paid super close attention to this stuff. Oh, it is Steel now. When did they do that when they introduced Steel type? Which was like Gen 2, I think. Cuz yeah, Steelix was Gen 2, right? Isn't Steelix is Steel type? Has to be. Yeah, Gen 2. Hey, I knew a thing. What do you know? And just so you guys know, as soon as I'm done with this head, I'm probably going to call it an evening. The more you know. Oh, come on. Blend. And the reason I'm using such a tiny brush is I tried a big... I don't know if you saw, but I tried a bigger one at the beginning. And it just didn't work. It was... Because the way these digital blender brushes work is they really just... It's kind of like the color picker. And then you're just pushing around that color that it happened to be on exactly where you placed the brush. So the smaller the brush you have, the more realistic the blending effect becomes. But that makes it so slow. It's so slow. Come on. Well, and like then you get stuff like this up where I have this gradient that is not much of a gradient. And if I just tease at it, we can make it even out. Oh, but it's taking a long time. Then it wasn't until Gen 6. Gen 6 was how long it took to introduce Fairy type? But they went ahead and made like the Clefairy line Fairy type and stuff like... And like Chansey's a Fairy type now, right? Or did they not do that kind of stuff? Because back in my day, Chansey was a normal type, I think, right? Yeah, they changed some of the old types. That's, I mean, they had to though, right? Because you gotta adapt. When you're adding new content to the game, you don't want the old stuff to become obsolete just because you added new stuff. Which is the problem Minecraft runs into all the time. Wonder when we'll get another new type. Probably like never. You'll get a new type, but it'll be DLC. If you don't buy the DLC, then all those Pokemon are normal type and have normal type moves. But if you buy the DLC, it'll be the new type, which is called OP type. And all of their moves get critical hits every single time. Gen 420. Grass type 2.0. No, we'll have grass type and herb type. That's how they'll fix it. Don't need to blend this part very well. But now I do. That bottom part's going to be hidden behind his cloak. I thought I was going to only blend this partially, but I think... Because remember I said I wanted to have that texture a little bit But what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to get the most neutral color of this and manually add it back in. Just because I think having this even as the base is going to look better. That is kind of happening. I'm sorry. I'm a little bit angry about that. They're retyping the legendary birds? Go fuck yourself. Don't touch my birds. I'm angry about that. Why? Why would you retype them? Not to mention, you gotta be careful retyping Pokemon that reference their type in the name. Which is a lot of them. Galar forms, of course. Galar forms of legendary animals that are supposedly one of a kind. That makes perfect sense. Like, just because everybody can get one in their own game doesn't mean that in the lore it's not a one-of-a-kind creature. Yeah, but aren't the legendary birds, there's one of each that exists? Like, and the Reggies are getting it too? I don't know. I don't know that I agree with this. I'm less tilted about the Reggies because they're the Reggies. But I mean, if you want to talk about something that doesn't need a type rechange, I would say something named Reggie Rock, Reg Ice, and Reggie Steel. Maybe already have types picked out for them. This is Reggie Rock Galar. He's a water type. He's upset about his name. They must have had children. It's been 24 years. So, I'm sorry. What we're looking at is the Galar Son of the Mask. That's what we're doing. We're doing a sequel that nobody asked for. Zapdos 2, not Electric Boogaloo. Artiquatro, Zapsinko, and Molseis. Oh, I love that. I love that. That's great. It'll be okay if they keep their base and get rid of flying. But then they'd have to make birds that aren't flying type, and I don't think they're physically capable of that. I think somebody in the Pokemon Company dies if they do that. I don't know who. But he seems to have some pull. Okay, so now... I want to alter the shape of this just a little bit. And then I'm going to, with this splotchy brush again, I'm going to make a new texture, or a new layer rather. And I'm going to open this up, really drop the flow down. Yeah, and then I can still have my texture. Okay, so I'm going to grab the lightest color, hide the swatch layer, wand that off, and then I'm just gonna brush this in. Just kind of brush some texture in here. That's not quite working, is it? I think I need to bring the opacity up. Yeah, there we go. So opacity up, and instead of the lightest color, we're going to go with the second lightest color so that it stands out a little bit more against the base. Yeah, this is going to be a lot more subtle. And then I can still have my texture. See that? Yeah, that's going to work. So we're just going to go through, kind of dapple it all around here. Just kind of muddy them up, really. So layer 9 and layer 10. So I'll do one with that lighter color and one with the darker color. And then what I'm going to do is go through and kind of like what I did with the lights on the tree. I'm going to go through and erase where I don't want it on these two layers individually. So this one, I don't really want it in here. Whoopsie. We do need to soften the eraser though for that to work. So we want it much lower opacity and we want it much softer. And then I can go through and it makes it so that you can clean stuff up and just like kind of tweak the opacity of certain things with a brush. So like that doesn't need to be quite as prominent, nor does any of this, or this really shouldn't be here at all. What is my favorite Canto starter? Well, the one I always picked was Bulbasaur, who I know is objectively considered to be the worst one. But it's because he's green, and green is my favorite color. So I picked Bulbasaur all the time. But my actual favorite, like if I were to choose based on the Pokemon, I would pick Squirtle. What's your favorite Kanto starter? Who's your boy? You think he's objectively the best? He's my favorite. I thought everybody thought he was bad. You're a Charmander person? I can respect that. So basically, neither of the two that I picked. He's good against the first two gyms. Ah, I see. Okay, that's a good strategy. That makes sense. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. What are the first two gyms in Kanto? I want to say water and rock, right? Gen 1 Pimp picks Squirtle. Okay. Rock and Water. Okay, so I was right. Those are the first two. Yeah, so I would pick Squirtle for the first two gyms as well. Because Squirtle's going to be strong against Rock. And then at least neutral against Water type. What the hell? Charmander gets stumped. Basically. Part of the reason I want to do the knight's head is because I wanted to see what the rock looked like behind him. So let's get the scratches on here. And then I think I'll be happy. So I'm going to get my scratch layer here. And we're going to get the right brush for that, which should be charcoal pencil. And then we go over here and we switch to 174. And then I think I want it spaced at like a really low amount. Yeah. And then brush size up. Whoa. Maybe that's not the right one. Oh, 174. That's the one. Okay. And then we bring it down to like 25% spacing. Maybe less spacing? No, definitely not. I know 174 was what I was using. So let's try 4, 5, 6, 7. And then maybe play with the rotation and see if that gets us something nice. And then maybe thin it out. No, no, no. Thin it the fuck out. Thank you. At least in Fire Red, Charmander learns Metal Claw. Oh, that is good for Brock, yeah. Benzagon, I would agree with that. Wait, what'd you say earlier, Pimp? When Meryl got a water type, it got a baby evolution, which was normal type, which was Azurill. I remember that. And then Azumarill can now be normal fairy if its gender changes when it evolves. Weird. Okay. Yeah. We're getting there. Still not quite the brush I want. Like I'm gonna open it up a little bit again. Space it down. Something's not right here. Maybe I used a different brush. Yeah, it's just not the same brush. I don't get what I'm doing wrong here. Yeah, Pimp, that's one of the biggest things is the Pokemon cutting is like, I don't think that's a good idea. You're gonna alienate a lot of people, especially by cutting something like the Gen 1 starters. Bad idea. Just objectively bad idea. Okay. So I think I was just messing with it too much. Alright, so I'm going to work on our scratch layer here now. And again, I know this looks very aggressive right now, but it'll go away, don't worry. It just adds a little layer of detail that your eye barely notices, but it's worth it. Because this will get incredibly softened after I'm done with it. It's going to be almost non-existent. But you want some that are pretty hard lines so that even when you bring that opacity down, a couple of them like still really show. And you want some weird ones, stuff like that, because that's how a scratched up bone looks. Okay. No, that one looks too much like a stroke. There we go. They cut Bulb and Squirtle, but not Charmander. And on top of that, they gave him a Gigantamax form. Yeah, I agree, Pimp. It's still dumb. And what I still don't get what the Gigantamax thing is. Because didn't they introduce like 2 new forms this time? There's Gigantamax and other Gigantamax, basically. Okay, and then we just soften this down real low. Like to there. Dynamax is just a bigger version of the same Pokemon. Gigantamax is a new design. Okay. And why? Like, why not just do the new design? Like, why is Dynamax a thing, I guess is my question. I think the scratches worked. They might need to be a little bit more faint, though. Got to be just right. Because too faint, and they're actually going to look more like a painting. Not faint enough. Oh, that's true. Okay, so the Dynamax is something you can do with everybody. That makes sense. Okay. And so is that like a stone you have to give them? Is it like, how does that work? So now if I turn you can only do it in gyms and online. Nintendo! Guys! Nintendo. What are you doing? Why? I have a really good feeling about this drawing, guys. I mean, now seeing all that's left, right? And how that's going to go in around all of this. And then we'll do all of the depth and the lighting and... yeah, I feel really good about this. I'm stopping here for today. Lore reasons. Gyms are made on power spots. I see. Okay. Well, I mean, that's a decent justification for it, so I'll give you that. And, like, being able to do it everywhere would be kind of stupidly OP. This isn't a Mega Evolution. This is a completely new thing. Big. Well, that's super weird. I don't know how I feel about that. I now know more about Gigantamax and Dynamax forms, and I feel like I'm just as confused as I was at the beginning of it, but for a whole suite of different reasons. Alrighty, guys. I'm going to call it for tonight. Ooh, I know Moody's not here anymore, but I like that axolotl design that he made. That's very cool. Benzagon. That looks so tasty. Oh my god. It's cow beef. Gotta go tell the vegans they can eat chicken. That was funny. That looks really good. That looks really fucking good. I need to get me some of that. Alright, folks. Well, on that note, we are done for today. I'm sure I will see you guys over at Pimp's stream. If Pimp is streaming tonight, which I'm sure you are. So I'm looking forward to seeing you guys there. I'm going to say goodnight and dive back into my computer. I'm gonna turn my computer off so that I can keep working on my computer. So I'll see you guys later. You don't have to if you don't want to, but I'd be happy to be there, Pimp, if you want to do one. But I am going to sign off for right now, so I will see you guys later. Thanks for hanging out. Pleasure as always. Bye, guys.